Madden 23 is broken yet again. I had to pull the face cam out for today's video because it's just getting that ridiculous at this point. I gotta talk to you guys face to face. Now, if you've been here all year, you've gone through the ups and the downs, the roller coaster that has been Madden 23. But for a lot of you, you might have just got the game for Christmas and now you're already coming in right out of the gate experiencing everything we've been experiencing all year long. And hey, if you are new to the game and also new to the channel, I give you all the updates on Madden throughout the year and the new Madden before it comes out. So if you don't want to miss out on stuff like that, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on. Now, about a week ago, I actually made a video talking about the state of Madden 23 after 4 months of playing. All the highs, all the lows, and the conclusion in that video was that Madden 23 at that point in time, as I was making that video, was actually playing pretty well. Franchise mode was working, Ultimate Team was working, gameplay had been the best that it's been in years. Now, granted, gameplay has a ton of its own issues, but when you look at the last 5 or 6 years of Madden, the current state of Madden 23 gameplay is definitely better than those games. And it's interesting because when they said that this was going to be the least buggy Madden in a lot of years, the guy that said that was the guy that heads the gameplay team, and ironically enough, that might actually be true. Bug-wise, gameplay has not been crazy buggy. It's had some issues with O-line, but really, if you think about it, Madden games have always had issues with O-line. Even in the great glory days of Madden, the O-line has always been very easy manipulated. But either way, gameplay-wise, was the least buggy it's been in years, and it's the most solid it's been in years, even if it still has, in my opinion, a lot of work to do. But where the game has been completely buggy, almost every step of the way, has been franchise mode, and yes, even Ultimate Team. I know a lot of people think Ultimate Team doesn't have a lot of issues. No. This year, it's had a ton of issues, just like franchise mode. And as of last week, it seemed like all this stuff was finally taken care of. Everything was finally running smooth. And typically, that's what happens with Madden games. After a few months, they iron out all of the problems, and the game is usually in its best state for the rest of the way. Well, not this year, because the problems came right back in just days later. Franchise mode, once again, is no longer able to be logged into. I think this is mostly cloud franchises, online leagues. I don't think this really pertains to single franchises and offline leagues, although I could be a little mistaken. But it seemed on Christmas when people got the game, they were met right out of the gate with not being able to play the game for both franchise mode and Ultimate Team. You couldn't even get into Ultimate Team on Christmas Day. A lot of people could not get in. Franchise mode, I believe you weren't able to get into it as well, but they then fixed it and it was working for, I don't know, maybe let's say 8 hours, and then the same problem came back, and now EA just put out a tweet saying they're aware and they're addressing it. But they've been aware and they've been addressing it all year long. The same problem keeps popping back up. I don't know if it's different things that are triggering these problems each time around, but the same overall problem still exists with people being kicked out or not being allowed to get in their franchises and play. And if you got this game to play franchise, or if you got the game to play Ultimate Team and you can't get in and play, then the game is kind of useless to you. Sure, you could play Now, or you can play maybe Superstar KO, but if that's not why you got the game, then you're not interested in doing that. You got the game to play franchise mode or Ultimate Team. That's the case for the majority of people that buy this game, and they have not been able to get in and play these modes countless times throughout the year. Now, I'm going to continue in 1 second, but really quickly, let's talk about today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and I've got a great deal that's going to give you free money to play with. Underdog Fantasy is a fantasy app that you can download on your phone, but the best thing about the app is their Pick'em game. Their Pick'em game lets you wager real money for big winnings. Just pair any 2 to 5 player props together, and if they all hit, you win. The more players you add, the bigger the payout. They also offer an insurance option if you pick 3 or more players, which allows you to still win if all but one of your players hit. Now, here's the great deal I got. They're hooking you guys up. Use code RAY at sign up, RAY, and you get a deposit match up to $100. So you deposit 20, you get a free 20. Deposit 50, a free 50. And if you deposit a free 100, you get a free $100 on top of that to play with, so you can try it out. Link is below in the pinned comment. Again, that's code RAY. And a lot of the problems lately with Madden seem to be server related, which is interesting because for years, a lot of the problems with Madden were just bugs within the game code. Certain things with the gameplay that was messing up, certain things in modes that just wouldn't work properly. This year, we haven't seen nearly as much of those problems. It's been mostly server problems that are keeping people from getting into their respective modes, but also once they're in the mode, there's certain things that can be kicking them out or giving them the wrong rewards in terms of Ultimate Team, where they're constantly having to make it up to the player player base and give out either free stuff or go back in and give you the stuff that you were supposed to have, but it's so long after the fact sometimes that it just defeats the whole purpose of playing the mode. So here's the tweet EA put out yesterday. Update: after today's maintenance, users should be able to play CFM without issue. If you continue to have trouble, please contact EA Help or let us know in this thread. Thank you. Today they came back. Franchise update: we are aware of users encountering issues when connecting to CFM last night. We have begun to investigate and will update this thread once we know more. And of course, you've got some replies under here. Worst Madden ever. 3 times in less than 3 weeks. I've been locked out nearly a day. If it was mud, it would have been fixed ASAP. Get it together, EA. Now that part I disagree with, because as I said in this video, and anybody who's played MUT this year can attest to this, it's been almost just as bad as franchise. I won't say it's been as bad, but there's been a ton of issues and there's been a long wait time for some of these things to be fixed. The truth is right now, EA is having problems in their 2 major modes, and there's no 1 or 2 specific things that are pointing to actually why these problems are happening. They're just happening, and they're happening very often, and a lot of them are server related, and that just leads me to believe that this is something that they don't know how to fix, at least at the dev level. They might know how to fix it for a few days or for a week, but the problem's going to keep coming back. I don't know if it's a matter of they need to invest in more infrastructure, if they need to redo some things. I mean, at a video game level, I think a lot of us think the game needs to be rebuilt, but that's more for things within the game itself, gameplay issues, bugs within the game, things within certain modes that are not working properly. But when we're talking about servers, that has nothing to do, at least as far as I know, with the actual game itself. That is a completely separate thing. And EA servers, you know, in the past, when you go like 10 or so years ago, their servers used to be pretty decent, but they've just been getting worse and worse every year now. And it's to the point where people are getting this game either at the beginning of the year or they're getting it at Christmas, and they're going days or even weeks at a time where they can't even get on and play. And like, what's the point of having a game if you can't play it? I mean, look, they just put out a tweet even a few minutes ago about Ultimate Team. Hey Madden fans, we have an update on the next steps regarding the present packs on 12/25. This is something inside Ultimate Team here, and it's funny when you click over here to their forums, it says can't connect to Madden, we're working on it, we'll get you back in the game as soon as we can. And like I said, this has been like pretty much a weekly issue at this point, and they have this whole, you know, long essay right here about, you know, the problems going on in Ultimate Team on Christmas where people couldn't get in or people couldn't open their packs or they had the wrong amount of packs. And mind you, this is a game mode that people spend real money on, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. People are still spending real money on it, and even the mode where they're spending money, they're having a ton of issues. So I know a lot of franchise fans think that this is a matter of, well, they only care about MUT, they only care about money. It's not. That's not the case, because Ultimate Team is having so many issues as well. Even my guy Mills had to go in on him, and Mills is very much like me, very positive, very glass half full, likes to focus on the positive and the things that they enjoy about the game more than the negative. But, you know, if I'm being real, I have to point out the issues with the game. That's a part of my channel. I keep you guys updated on the news, what's coming, what's broken, what's being fixed, and, you know, we have to talk about these things because that's what people expect from us. And yes, I would love to focus on the positive way more than negative. I like to focus on the fun things I like about the game, but the reality is a lot of people that watch me and a lot of people that play this game are not able to play it, and I have to look at it from their point of view, not just the fact that, well, I can get online and play head-to-head every once in a while when I have time and have fun, sure, but a lot of people can't consistently get on this game and play it, and, you know, you have to speak up for those people too. And I'm not saying that EA doesn't care, that the devs don't care. I don't think that's it. I think I've always said the problem is way above them. I think it's the money that comes from the very top, and that they're not investing enough back into this game, and the devs are kind of just there, you know, to do the best they can, and with what little they have to work with, and, you know, it might not be much at this point. So Mills says, completely disrespectful to your consumers. Your mode has had issues since day one, and you still have users that can't log in because they generated a lineup. That's another MUT issue. If you generated a certain lineup, you can't get in. And this is what you thought was okay. For once, try to delight your players, not disappoint. I know that bucks the trend. Again, that's coming from Mills, probably the most positive person you can find in the community. Even more positive than myself, but again, at a certain point, it's just like enough is enough. I don't think it's anybody's intention to have the game not working properly. That just doesn't benefit anybody. And again, it's not just franchise, it's Ultimate Team where they make a ton of money. It does not benefit them to have consumers that aren't happy or consumers that can't play the game. But at this point, I just don't know what to say anymore. I'm tired of making negative videos, but I have to make them because the problems keep persisting and people are in my comments saying, hey, you got to speak on this. Hey, it's broken again. Hey, it was working for a few days. Now I can't get in. I'm tired of having to make these videos, but if the game is never going to work properly, I'm going to have to keep making them. This is kind of really just more of a rant video than an update at this point, but I just don't know what needs to be done. I'm just at a loss for words with Madden. I really thought this year was going to be solid. The beta was good. The launch was pretty solid, but shortly after that, both of the biggest game modes just continue to have problems on problems on problems, and I still stand by the fact that I think this is the best gameplay we've had in a Madden in a while, and that's being said while also acknowledging that it could still be so much better and there's so much more stuff they should and could do, but it's still way better than the previous games. But the two biggest game modes have had issues after issues after issues, and that kind of makes the game useless for a lot of people if they can't consistently get on and play. They just turn to other games or just put the game down. I've kind of put the game down this year. I played a little bit, but not very much at this point because there's always something wrong. Like I said, I'm just kind of at a loss for words, and I just wanted to speak about it. Now, if you want to break from Madden and you want to check something else out, I played every NFL 2K game ever made in this one video. You can check it out right here on the screen.